Hey, what's up? Do you know what I found out today? So anyways, I was listening to Gabor, big surprise. And turns out a bunch of people have done studies on boys and girls when they're really young, like children. And it turns out boys are much more sensitive than girls. Much more sensitive. Like they're quicker to cry, they're quicker to be upset, to be sad, all this stuff. So it turns out that boys are actually more sensitive than girls as children. And then as our culture is just like, oh, boys got to be tough, and so maybe boys grow up to be these wounded men that just want to cry and be sad and because they're more sensitive than the girls, but they're unable to do so. So men become like, oh, like, you, so nothing hurts me. And men can't be vulnerable. Men can't express themselves. God forbid men cry. We've created this culture where men can't be them true selves. So why don't we just allow people to be their true selves? That's a good idea. It makes sense though, because when I was growing up in childhood, my mother had really bad parents. My grandparents were vicious, dude. One time my grandfather, he kissed me at this like party once. I think it was his birthday party. He was 65 years old or something like that. And my grandfather kissed me, and he had the scruffy beard like I do. And it prickles, it like hurts. And I was 7 years old. So he kisses me, and like he does one of these like old like grandparents do. And like as soon as he does it, he looks at me and I'm like, because his stubble hurt my 7-year-old face. And he looks at me and he gets really ticked off at the fact that like I didn't like the fact that he kissed him. So he takes his hand and he slaps me across the face. What? Dude, what's wrong with that guy, man? Dude was in World War II. He was a machine gunner, and like Japanese people would just come across a field, and his job was to sit on top of a hill and just plow down a machine gun all these Japanese soldiers. The dude must have killed hundreds of Japanese men. Dude, that guy was, man. So, of course, he comes home from war, and he's a complete freaking a-hole to my mom. And he marries a borderline personality disorder wife. So between his wife and him being this Marine that killed hundreds of Japanese men, they were brutal to my mom, like a-holes. So, of course, my mom grew up wounded and alone and afraid and scared. Dude, when you have parents, number one, if you have a borderline personality disorder mom and a Marine father, you better hide in your room and hope they don't see you or hear you. I have this chapter in my book, not to promote my book shamelessly, I have this chapter in my book about how, like, when you come from a family where one of your parents are abusive, or whether they're borderline or bipolar, or whether they switch from like happiness to anger to depression to anger, you're always on edge. You're always walking on eggshells because you're like, when's the next time they're gonna like scream at me? When's the next time they're gonna yell at me? So you're always like this. Like I have these like muscles right here. They're like goddamn rocks. First time I took a yoga class, I was like this. And the yoga instructor just wanted us to sit in a feet, like, just the lotus position. And she kept coming around the room and she kept lowering my shoulder. And she's like, calm down, relax. Because she knew I grew up from trauma. Like, I have so much tension. Like, you should see me without a shirt on. Like from behind, it's like a boulder. But I also shrug like 90 pounds every other day. But to get back to it, man, like if you grow up in a home where you have a mentally ill parent, especially like borderline or a bipolar parent, holy crap, man, you better hide in your room. Yeah, the chapter of my book is it focuses on like just hiding in your room and hoping they don't come in and find you. God dang, man. Some of us grew up some crazy lives, man. You know, and I don't believe in comparative suffering. Never compare your suffering to somebody else, or never compare your life to somebody else. But somebody commented, and all your comments are safe, man. Like, I love when people comment, because if there's one thing I love more than anything in the world, is people telling me that there's something wrong with me, because it makes me look internally. And I'm like, well, is there something wrong with me? Let me figure it out. And I'll grow and I'll get better. And maybe I'll be a more loving person. In fact, I probably will 100% more likely be a loving person and a more present person the more I uncover the crap from my childhood, or the things that, you know, might be wrong with it, right? So, yeah, somebody was just like, you know, they were watching video number 4, like number 4 on my channel. Don't watch that video, man. Like, that video is just like, oh, I don't like that video, man. I don't like that video. Because, like, I shift between people. Like, sometimes I'm, like, manic guy, like, all happy. Like, and I can't control it either. I'm just, like, way too happy. And that really annoys my sister. Like, like, when I'm around my sister, I have to be, like, the guy was in video number 11. So when I'm hanging out with my sister, I'm video number 11 guy. You know? And I hung out with my sister yesterday, and all throughout the day, I was video number 11 guy. I was, like, peaceful, loving, present. If I were to go around my sister today, she'd be like, get out. Get out. I've been diagnosed bipolar, borderline my entire life, you know? So, you know, sometimes when you watch these videos, I might be very quick, talkative, manic. Sometimes I might be very, like, and I can't talk about being psychopathic because I, like, become psychopathic. That's one of the things that, like, in mental institutions, they're like, don't talk about being a psychopath. Don't talk about killing people. Don't think about or talk about thinking about killing people. Because immediately, like, my face changes. And, like, I've had girlfriends where, like, I'll be sitting with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden I'll be like, and they'll see, like, the demon, and they'll be like, I know that face, and they'll leave. They'll leave, like, wherever we are. Like, they'll leave me, they'll abandon me wherever I am, because they know that that person is just going to destroy them. What an a-hole boyfriend, man. I was such a bad boyfriend to so many people. Like, I either cheated on them. I've had 25 girlfriends in my life, and I'm a serial dater. I can never date anybody for more than 2 to 3 years, because I either cheat on them, or I'm so terrified that they're gonna leave me and cheat on me that I experience this deep, deep, deep sadness. Deep sadness. Where it feels like I just want to stay in bed and cry all the time. Because I know that eventually they'll leave me for somebody else. And in order for me to not feel that pain and that hurt, I should just not be with anybody. And whenever I try to do something new, like there was this girl, like I'll just call her Christina. There was this girl, Christina, we were really good friends, and we, you know, decided to hang out a bunch, and we took walks together, and she was very spiritual, and she loved nature and birds and things like that, and she came to my house, and we went into the woods with yoga mats, and we laid down, and we just kissed and made out for an hour. And she's a trauma baby too. She has an abusive father, and she comes from a really shit home. Sorry to curse. And, you know, so did I. So we bonded, like, boom, like right away. Like it was just this love. And she had messaged me later that night. She's like, I've never felt that way with anybody. Like, I've never experienced that kind of love. And we had only been with each other for 30 minutes. And I felt the same way about her. But then I went overboard. Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about her. I wanted to be with her, like, all the time. And, like, I overdid it. So I don't know what to do. You know, so I haven't dated anybody I haven't had a girlfriend in 7 or 8 years, because I don't know how to do it, man. And a lot of us who are borderline personality disorder, which I most likely am, with psychopathic tendencies, We don't know how to be in relationships because we are damaged.